And welcome to the Confound Millennial, starring Steven Stirvin Michaels and featuring special guest Christopher Tamez of Top Tier.
So proud of what you're doing, wasting time while you're acting like it's all you aspire to be. Keep your problems away from me. Get out of my head with your sorry responses, your terrible losses. It's making me nauseous and it's getting to me. It's getting to me and I can't take much more of that.
Hey Chris, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So I just like jumping straight into it, asking the hard-hitting questions. All right?
Laid 'em.
Who are you?
Well, I am me. I am who I am. No, I'm 25 years old. I am lead vocalist and I play bass for Top Tier. I'm based out of Miami, Florida, born and raised. It's nice being in constant tropical weather, but it also kind of sucks being in the geographic armpit of America. But that's besides the point. Yeah, I've been in this band 4.5, let's say about 4.5 years now. Started with just kind of, I introduced myself into the local scene by doing a lot of photography down here. That's just how I got my bearings of, meeting people down. And, along the way, I photographed a buddy of mine's band. They played like 2 shows. And then right as that project dissolves, he sends me a message saying, hey, Chris, I got a pop punk project opening up. I need a bassist. And in true bassist fashion, I never touched a bass guitar in my life. But, hey, I played guitar, so that was enough to get me somewhere. And yeah, we were practicing out of my patio. We were literally the only member of the band at the time that had an open practice space. That project went by Heroes and Traders. And then 2 shows in, stuff didn't really work out with the frontman at the time. So we were kind of on the hook to play a gig. And, we had all kind of shared vocals, but, there really wasn't anyone to sing lead. And, we were set to play a really nice show at a venue not too far from us. And I said, well, whatever, this is the only time I'm going to ever front a band and have fun with it. And so be it. And if I die and fizzle, then we're going to go out trying. But yeah, that project played a show together and we just liked the way that things gelled. And about a month later, we ended up picking up the other co-vocalist, Felix. He's the guy with a long, luscious beard in the Ego Trip video. And that was about 4 years ago. And, we've pretty much almost kept the same lineup, minus one other change. But, we're a sound group of brothers. These are the knuckleheads that I love to death. They're the brothers I wish I could have had growing up. And, here we are today. We're working with a label down here in South Florida called Apocalypse Records. And after 2 DIY EPs that we released on our own, we got our bearings with this new label and, kind of the process of recreating our sound, rebranding ourselves, and releasing content on a much bigger level than what we could have been while doing it DIY. And now we're here.
Nice. You mentioned the first time that you played bass, you'd never played bass before. I find that's a common thing with bassists is they usually start as rhythm guitarists and then somebody gets sick, somebody falls through, and it's like, just play the top note.
It's kind of how it was initially. He was just like, bro, follow the route and just kind of improvise as you go. And I said, all right, fake it till I make it. And to give myself credit, I think I have progressed pretty well considering I went from nothing to here. But yeah, no, it's since then I kind of just went all in. Last year I bought myself a it was 2 years ago, got myself a 2019 Ernie Ball Stingray, and she's the love of my life. I can't switch to any other instrument at this point.
So we already covered how Top Tier kind of formed. What was it like back then versus what it is now?
I mean, are we talking about in regards to like the pandemic or?
Yeah.
Well,
And
I'm sure.
regards to actually playing shows versus, I'm assuming during the pandemic y'all have had more time to focus on writing music.
Absolutely. I mean, I can say just like any other musician out there is that we miss playing live shows and yeah, once the pandemic hit here, we had our first shutdown, if you will, here in Miami around like mid-March of last year, kind of around the time the rest of the nation did. But it's unprecedented. Our all of our local venues down here. I'm not gonna say all, but I would say a good part of them, unfortunately, did shut down as a result of it. The funding wasn't there, or they just couldn't really make ends meet. By other ventures. So I can say that Miami has definitely had a loss of venues, but that does not mean by any stretch that the talent, went into thin air. Miami's known as mainly as like a scene where it's like a lot of Hispanic music, a lot of reggaeton, a lot of electronic music. Like we're known as a party city, but rock music, at least I would say in the past 20 years, hasn't been like the cream of the crop, hasn't been like the go-to flavor here. But believe me when I say the talent's there and the DIY spirit has always been strong since I've been involved here in the scene. We do have our handful of like larger venues, but some of the biggest shows I've played at to date have been backyard shows, playing in someone's living room, or we kind of make do. When Top Tier was taken off, Felix and I kind of took it upon ourselves to start booking our own shows. I think the best part of every scene is creating that like network of bands and finding that like circle of people that always want to come out to your shows. And it was before even I even jumped into music, I was very, very reserved, very shy, which I can't even imagine myself being that now. But by wearing the hat of businessman and musician, we kind of learned to kind of create our own little bubble of people and slowly but surely expand it out. Pandemic did put a big hold on that, but we've been able to go back to the drawing board, revisit old demos, do a lot of new writing. And we're all just waiting for the okay of when it is going to be decent to perform. Miami is starting to really roll out a consistent program with vaccines. We were first prioritizing elderly people, first responders, rightfully so. But now as we're seeing vaccines become more readily available, there's a lot of infrastructure being created right now that everyone can just get their vaccine. And we're hoping maybe by summer that we'll start seeing a turnaround, but I'm one to say I'd rather wait until I know it's safe and things are done right than we're booking a show or playing something where we're jeopardizing the health of our fans. And it's unfortunate, but this is just how it is right now, and we have to wait and do our part and social distance, wear a mask, do everything we can, and when it's time, it's time.
Right. So what kind of musical inspiration, like what bands have inspired Top Tier to become what it is?
Well, we're like a nice little smorgasbord when it comes to our influences. Felix and his brother Nico are very, very big on like the story so far, and we were really big growing up on like Set Your Goals and A Day to Remember, 4 Years Strong. The first iteration of Top Tier was very like easy core, if you want to call it that. My roots kind of came from your early 2000s pop punk. I grew up listening to Newfound Glory and Green Day and Sum 41 and Mayday Parade, All Time Low. I think I've always been more of the fan of like the poppier side of like the punk rock stuff, and Felix and Nico and our drummer B-Rye kind of had those like heavier roots for their influences. So, at the end of the day, we all love pop punk music. We all just kind of take a different branch from the tree, and then we all kind of just mix it together and create the sound that we have.
Right. So you guys would classify yourself as pop punk?
Yeah, I'd say pop punk, alternative. It's 2021. Anything says and goes now. Hell, we got MGK and Youngblood and Modson putting out pop punk music. So
I love having a band on, and they come up with some 5-word genre for it, and I'm like, you mean metal? And they're like, yeah. Post new modern hardcore progressive what? But
progressive
pop punk,
post
I like
melodic avant-garde pop punk.
So, what music? We know what inspires the band now, but what inspires you? Like, what are you listening to when, like, today? What kind of music were you jamming to earlier today?
Well, I mean, I just mentioned it, but I really like how we're seeing this crossover of like hip hop artists delving into this realm of like pop punk because, we see the likes. I was listening to MGK, Jaden, and Nothing Nowhere on the way to work today, and I was talking to someone about it in this where we're seeing, and I hate to date myself, but we're seeing a lot of like things blowing up on TikTok where it's like, oh man, only real emo kids remember this, and it's like friggin' Fall Out Boy and MCR and the Youth. I'm like, dude, is this retro? Like I was just jamming this like a few years back, but we see this like new wave of like alternative rock music, and we're seeing how it's like starting to influence a lot of like hip hop artists, and it's creating this whole new wave of like new listeners and new artists, and it makes me really excited to see what this like revival for alternative music is going to have in store for us going forward.
Yeah, it's good for the music, good for the scene, but don't it make you feel old?
Oh hell yeah, man! Someone told me like Green Day is like 30 years old now or something. Like they're getting up there, man. And like I remember, sitting underneath my bed sheets with my PSP with the Bullet in the Bible playing, and I have my little headphones on. I don't know, man. The love of the music is still there, but damn,
it's like
my favorite ways to get old.
I asked somebody a couple weeks ago if they remembered, they were kind of emo, and I asked them, do you remember the first time you heard Black Parade? And he was like, yeah, I was jumping up and down on my parents' bed, 9 years old. I'm like, 9 years old?
Yeah, man, Black Parade, I came out in what, 06? Like 15 years old now.
Yeah. Like with me the other day, I saw that the Phantom Menace Star Wars is 20 years old. I'm a nerd. We're nerds here. And that brings me to a question, actually. Does the band Top Tier have a resident nerd?
Oh, man. I wish we had Felix in here for that. I know he lives and breathes for anything like Star Wars. He's big anime head, too. I know when we're not writing and he's not streaming, you're going to catch his ass like binge watching anime. They've tried to suck me into it. I'm not one to push shit away, but I'm the type even when it comes to like TV or like shows, like I will watch something if you convince me that we're gonna hang out, we're gonna see it together. I want to know why you're into it, because I don't know. I'm not gonna say I'm always busy, but it takes a lot for me to just kind of like sit down and kick it and watch something on TV. Gaming, on the other hand, I mean, I have a whole collection of retro games here, so I'll burn hours doing that.
I was going to ask what what the nerdiest thing about you is, but I'm going to take it that's retro games.
Oh my god! See, my current collection, if you will, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to finish collecting every North American release N64 game, because the N64 was like the first console I ever played growing up. That and like PlayStation 1, but I'll keep N64 as the big guy here. But yeah, right now I'm trying to get my hands on Conker's Bad Fur Day. Kind of one of the pricier games on the collection right now. But yeah, just this past week I'm over here looking at my corner, seeing my shrine of games. I was playing a little Mario Party last week, Ocarina of Time, throwing a little bit of time in there. Glover, which is one of my favorite platformers. No one in the hell is gonna remember what the hell that is unless you're like older, you're really into it. But yeah, man, I have a big old collection of N64 games. PlayStation 1. Spent a lot of time on Xbox Live back when it was at its peak. Halo 3, COD 4, all of that.
Halo 3, rest in peace.
God, what I would do to just spend one day.
They finally closed the servers like just a couple months ago.
Really?
Yeah. Like it was still going strong until a couple months ago, and they're like, we just can't keep this up anymore. It's been years, guys. Let it go.
Nah, man, old habits die hard.
And we've aged ourselves a bit here. We're both younger millennials. I'm the Confound millennial, which means I'm not good at being one. I suck at technology. What's the most unmillennial thing about you?
Bro, to tell you the truth, I still got a VHS player. Like, I still stream shit. No, excuse me, poop. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on here. I stream stuff.
I don't care.
Okay, but I'll be the first to say, like, I love raiding my local Goodwill when it comes to like getting games. That's actually how I got like half of my N64 games growing up, because bro, at least where I live down here, it's like you can tell usually the parents are just kind of going through their kids' old crap and they're just giving it away, not even knowing. And last time I went to Goodwill, I ended up getting this lot of games where I got like Mario Kart 64, I got Super Mario, and Diddy Kong. I mean, this was some time back, but like, I go through there, bro. I still have my VHS player. I have almost the entire first season of Pokemon on VHS, and I know I can stream it on Netflix, but like, it's not the same, man. I want to put my damn video in there, hit rewind, and go pop myself some popcorn.
That's beautiful, man. Still rocking the VHS player all these years later. That's an antique. That's a relic at this point.
Man, I wish I could find it here. Bro, just the other day, I was cleaning out a drawer and I found an unused Blockbuster gift card.
Wow.
Yeah.
You keep mentioning that video game corner off in the distance, and I keep thinking about, while we're talking about retro games, I'm currently staying with some friends, and my closet is just filled with retro gaming stuff. And I see the I don't remember what it's called, but the like NES gun that they use in Smash Bros.
The Zapper, I think it's called.
Yes, I have. No, not the Zapper, not the Duck Hunt gun, but the one with the scope.
Oh crap!
Yeah. Like, I'm looking at that right now. So, yeah, you might not think of yourself as a nerd, but boy, you're rocking a VHS player. You're watching Pokemon on it. Welcome to the nerd club.
Yeah, I guess to finish that, I was obsessed with YuGiOh growing up. I mean, to this day, I still love playing. I just don't know, like, all the new rules of, like, the games and all, but my childhood bedroom was just covered floor to ceiling with like YuGiOh memorabilia, posters, action figures. I had every damn dual disc that came out on there. My 8th birthday was YuGiOh themed.
We were talking about YuGiOh on my last episode. Had a magic card shop owner, and we were talking about how YuGiOh somehow is still in business. Nobody buys it, but it's somehow still cranking out cards.
Dude, I don't even know. Like, I saw that they like redid the series, or like there's like express duels or speed duels now, where you buy a deck of 40 cards, but there's like 2 or 3 different decks in the. I don't know. I guess they're trying to make it accessible to everyone, but like once they introduce all like the synchro summoning and pendulum summoning, all this crap, I'm like, no, man, I'm just trying to summon my god cards.
So back to top tier,
Sure.
reeling us back in. Who writes the lyrics?
I think it's a blend between Felix and I. There's never one like set way when we go about writing our music. Sometimes it'll just start with Nico. Well, we have a little bit like a band chat. He'll just be like, "Yo, hey, I just wrote this riff." He'll send us a demo of it. Sometimes it'll just be I might have some word vomit that I'll just throw into the chat, and then Felix is there trying to decipher it and give it some rhyme scheme. But I think that's what I love most about this band, that everyone kind of contributes in their own way, and then by the time we get to take it to rehearsal, it's just like this living, breathing project where someone provides a riff or our drummer will provide a certain fill, and it's kind of just evolves slowly but surely. And then there'll be times where we'll open up our Dropbox and we'll look at a demo that we wrote 2 years ago, and we'll be like, oh wait, yo, we can totally use that. Yo, run back that riff, and we're out here copying and pasting old songs and creating new stuff, and that's what I love about these guys. No idea ever gets permanently shelved.
And
but as for lyrics, it's like Felix and I for the most part.
That's a great thing about a band. Like, it's great when a band comes together to write the music, and it's not just one guy handles this part, one guy handles that part, but it's everybody together. That's when you can tell in the song everybody is invested equally.
Absolutely. And like, I love it that I went to school for music business for like artist management, but Nico and Felix went to school for engineering. So I love it because we get to kind of both take the best parts of our education, put it in together, and put into this project. But it's great. Every time I'll go over to Felix's house, he'll have a session open, and we'll just be there sitting through plugins. And my normie ass has no idea what these things are doing. I'm like, yo, hey, what if you chain this together? What do you do that? Bro, bless his heart. I'm so glad he can dumb things down for me when it comes to the production side. But there's always something new coming out. Just yesterday, Nico sent us a demo for like a surf rock song, and we've never written a surf rock song before.
So I was listening to Ego Trip and Over It, and I realized, the lyrics are kind of sad, but you got this get up and dance vibe to it. What's the deal there? Why don't you just stay sad? Why don't you just stay happy? Why stride in the middle?
It's the beauty of dynamics. I don't know. I mean, it's fun to kind of sit around and soak in your sadness and be, woe is me, you hurt me. And I feel like we can still do that, but we're sad, but in spite of that, we still want to be able to have a good time and write upbeat, like music. It's that crazy dynamic that kind of, they complement one each other. You know what I mean?
Right. It's, I'm not judging for it. I love it. I ask everybody what inspires the lyrics, and almost everybody I've ever asked has said one thing. And even like, I'm talking about a chiptune band that I had on, making music with Game Boys. They all answer the same thing: crippling depression.
Hell yeah! Let's all be sad together. No, I would say definitely writing for me has been always like a cathartic experience. Like sometimes I just might have something bothering me, and I'm just gonna type it into my phone. I have notepads on notepads of just like emotional vomit, and sometimes it'll manifest itself into a song. And honestly, I like to credit therapy for that. To not keep crap bottled in and just write your feelings down. And every so often, someone will present a song, and I'll be like, wow, this is a great song. How can my sad ass contribute to this?
Yeah, it's like, I can't sing with the flip. I barely play guitar enough to say that I can. And I got notebooks on notebooks of songs I've written, and that's just my therapy. You just you got to get it out there into the void sometimes.
Yeah, and a lot of that is being able to allow yourself to be emotionally vulnerable, because for me, my lyrics are my innermost thoughts. And for me or I say for us to come together and to kind of put this onto paper and kind of create a song, it creates this confidence of like, wow, okay, it's okay to not feel okay sometimes. And even in so, you get this beautiful artistic like final product. And it's, I've only been with this band for a few, like I said, about 4.5 years now, but I would say probably in the past 1.5 years, 2 years is where I've started to feel my most comfortable and allowing myself to, be vulnerable. And, I'm glad it's being received well the way it is so far. And we just want to write music that resonates with people.
And it is so far. I saw you guys' Spotify Wrapped, and it's really impressive for, how, I can only find 2 of your songs.
Yeah, but honestly, we took off a lot of our old catalog from before because, as I said, we put out 2 like EPs DIY. But we just said, hey, this is going to be a brand new start for us. That's not to say the old music won't be used again because some of our greatest hits are from that era. But yeah, we released our first single, which was Ego Trip. It was, I think, not April, like August of last year. We basically had about 4 to 5 months worth of like music on during in 2020, and even in that short span, I feel like it's been received really well. A lot of our older fans, a lot of our older friends, really enjoyed what we put out after kind of just going under the radar for a little bit and just kind of gathering our bearings back together and reforming and recreating this sound. But I'm a student to the industry. I'm a student to the game, and since we've been working with our label, I've just kind of been learning the methods to the madness. Why are songs created the way they do? What's the effective marketing strategy? How to target your actual demographics, and it's a lot to take in, but I'm having a blast of it. Seeing how music comes to be.
It's a smart move, doing a soft reboot like you did. I've been with the podcast. I've realized podcasts and music, they share a lot in common, and I've been arguing with myself whether to delete the first season altogether when I was running with a Guitar Hero mic or not. But I'm like, no, this is a story. Like, people got to know where we started out. I just pray to God they don't start out there.
And like, even like I tell my other friends that are musicians, like, they have content that they might have released 3 or 4 years ago. They might not have gotten that much attention, but I always tell them, like, hey, put it in perspective. Like, yeah, your friends down here in South Florida got to hear it, and I'm sure they enjoyed it. But what about, Sally in Nebraska? What about like Carl in North Dakota? Would probably never hear your music. Like, the luxury and power of the internet has given us this opportunity to just like push content to stuff people have never heard of before. And it might be old to you, but it's going to be new to somebody else. And that's kind of like the cool part I've learned about, like marketing your stuff. Like, there's always a new listener somewhere.
So, we talked about therapy briefly, just mentioned it. And I saw that you've talked about mental health before on another podcast or interview. Is there anything, this podcast goes by the 3 M's: music, magic, and mental health. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the fans with, or in regards to mental health while we're talking about it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and give you this PSA of like, it's going to get better. Like we can do it all day, but what I've learned through therapy is that you got to be brutally honest with yourself and look at the big picture of things. Like, for me, like I have really bad anxiety. I'll be the first to say that. And I've been the type to like kind of let these itty bitty tiny things like kind of pile onto each other and overwhelm and like kind of just like would take the best of me and, start creating these thoughts that I know that aren't necessarily true. But, if there's one thing I could tell people, it's that, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to talk about your emotions. I feel like, especially living in Miami, there's this really toxic like culture with like Hispanic masculinity where it's like you need to be this macho man all the time and you can't let anyone pull you down and all this crap. But like, hey man, we're human. We all go through a whole slew and array of emotions, and it's okay to let yourself go through things and feel things for what they are. You just can't let it overtake you. Practicing mindfulness, looking at things big picture, and knowing that these things are only temporary or kind of what helped push me through whatever obstacle or burden I would have on me.
And on a even deeper note here, an old co-host started this question, or the next couple of questions, and in his memory, I always carry them on. Sure. So what's your favorite color?
Oh, burgundy. Well, wines, reds, burgundies. I love anything remotely warm tone. If you were to go into my closet, it's like nothing but fall colors.
And another question from him is, let's say we get back to a norm of concerts and touring. And let's say you happen to find yourself touring through a state called Kentucky. Can I play the cowbell for you guys on like one song? Just one song.
Listen, bro, it's bring your own cowbell. I'll get you on stage. In fact, I'll even do you better. Now I'll give you a cowbell and I'll give you a China cymbal. And when we play a song with a breakdown, I'm gonna let you decide what people are gonna crowd kill to.
Yes. I swear, one day on my Wikipedia page, it's just going to be a list of bands I've played cowbell for, and that's all I'm living for right now.
Listen, if we win any award out of it, I'll make sure to send a golden cowbell your way. Hang it on the mantle or on the fridge. Show your parents.
So speaking of touring, is there? Obviously there is. What band or bands would you die to tour with?
Oh man, I think we were talking about sad lyrics and all that, but Mayday Parade is like hands down one of my favorite bands. They're also, they're a Florida band. I would love to tour with them. If they're out here listening, there's a fanboy in Miami that wants to see y'all. But no, I would say Mayday. I got a neck deep poster here, big inspiration of mine. I would give a limb to open for Green Day. I would say that is the band that threw me into music. If I'm being 100% honest, I've loved them since day one. I mean, the first album I truly listened to back cover to cover was American Idiot, but I remember getting Dookie when I was like 9 years old, which is funny because I came from like a religious family, and my mom wasn't always big on like, oh hey, you want to listen to rock music, it's the music of the devil, all that crap.
I feel that. But I feel that personally. I would
kill the tour of Green Day, 1,000%.
You bring up Mayday Parade. Mayday Parade was the first real concert I went to. A girlfriend dragged me to it. And it was where I learned of bands that I listen to this day that were opening up for them. I don't listen to Mayday Parade all the time, but all of the openers I still listen to. And they're As It Is, This Wild Life, and Real Friends.
Bro, I was heartbroken when Dan left Real Friends. I hope they do something or make a comeback, because like he has such a way with words, man. I saw This Wild Life. I don't think it was the Petaluma tour, but I know which tour you're talking about where they opened for Mayday. And God, I remember discovering Patty Walters like as a YouTuber. Loved the music that he did, and then he's like, "Hey, I got this whole band thing happening now." Comes out with As It Is. And the last album they came out with, I can't remember the title off the top of my head, but
The Great Depression.
Patty just embraced the entire like emo look, and I turn around and he went from this blonde kid to like, it's not a phase, mom, with the eyeliner and black hair. I was living for it. I'm so proud of my kid.
I saw him play during that tour, and he came out, and what he would say is, "Hey, I'm Patty Walters. We're As It Is, and we're the My Chemical Romance you remember from when you were 15.
And I would be there shrieking like a fangirl because agreed.
But, so those are the bands you'd like to tour with. What bands have you played with that are just freaking great guys?
I think the most random show I think we have ever opened for, but we played a show with A Lot Like Birds. And it was, because there's a promoter down here that he's great at what he does, and he had asked us to just sling some pre-sales for the show, and I think that was the the biggest show that we had played to date. And I think we had only been a band for like a couple years. I didn't get a chance to really talk to them per se, but that was the first experience I had with like, you know, seeing what a real touring act is like, what goes into the day to day of like, okay, you know, we got to set up a merch, we have their meet and greets, we have to do our acoustic sets, this and that. And like just seeing that from afar really kind of inspired me. And then like, I know some artists don't like the logistical grind of stuff, but seeing all the planning and stuff that went into like a big production show, a big act kind of just reinforced like, you know, this is what I want to do, man. We've been given a really great opportunity to do stuff now with our releases, and hope we can kind of get to that level where I got to worry about like, damn, what time sound check in the morning? When do I got to go set up the merch tables, this and that.
So, what do you have any, oh yeah, I remember. What is your, sorry, I keep forgetting this one. What is your favorite venue that you've played at, or like weirdest venue? You mentioned backyard shows, but like, what's the weirdest place you've played?
Weirdest place? Well, I want to say it's my favorite, but the weirdest place I played to date was up in Tallahassee. They have this festival called Gain Street Fest, where they kind of closed off, because it's like where all the college kids would kind of come out to listen to music. They closed off about 3 to 4 square blocks of like this tiny little town area, and any business, anything that has a front door gets converted into a venue. So, you know, we saw our friends play inside of like little bodegas and, play inside of like little candle shops and stuff. But the weirdest place we played at was literally in the patio of a hot dog restaurant. It was like a little concrete slab, you know, little tiny awning. You got a bunch of these college kids passing by, sloshed out with like a drink in their hand, like hot dog in the other. And all you look off to our left is just these pictures of psychedelic hot dog looking men inside costumes and stuff. That's the weirdest one. But favorite weird venue I can say I played was we had this venue called the Granary out in Little Havana down here in Miami, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a big Cuban American neighborhood, and this venue was located on the second story of a tire shop. So during the daytime, you have a bunch of mechanics coming in and out, you know, changing up the lug nuts, changing up crap in your car. And then after sundown, they all haul out. And a bunch of emo, weird alternative looking kids are coming up, chilling out the side of your venue, smoking a cigarette. But yeah, it was just this like second story space of the tire shop. It had no elevator, and it was like the steepest flight of stairs like you'd ever climb in your lifetime. And as the bassist, of course, I had to have the damn 4x10 cab because, you know, I didn't know what the hell DI was until recently. So probably got a hernia trying to load up into that venue, but I miss it. You know, I miss all the grit and grind. I miss friggin' stuffing my SUV to capacity where I can't even look out the back mirror full of our gear. It's crazy. You know, once you don't play shows, you start missing all the little things.
It's crazy, you know, just all the, you know, I've got some buddies in a band, and just all the work that goes into setting up for a show. And if I ever wanted to ride along, I'm throwing myself over the drum set in the back seat, like hoping that we don't get pulled over.
Literally.
But
you know, I even miss going to shows and buying overpriced beers, man. What I would do to have an ice cold Budweiser I just paid $13 for in between waiting for a band to set up.
But so talking about weird venues, I just wanted to throw out, if you ever get up in the North Georgia region, it's going to be your favorite venue and your weirdest venue at the same time.
I'll take notes. Lay it on me.
Write it down. It's Cloud Springs Deli.
An actual deli.
I was moshing one second and chowing down on a Reuben the next, and it was heaven, baby.
All right, hold on. Duly noted. Do you have Publix out in Kentucky?
I don't know. I'm relatively new. You know, I just mentioned Georgia. I just moved up here a few months ago.
Okay, but I'm assuming you at least had Publix out in Georgia, right?
Yeah, I know what a Publix is. Yeah.
All right. Now this is because we're talking delis here. I've been telling all my friends, Publix needs to branch off its deli, create a standalone pub sub restaurant like a Subway or something. It's gonna earn them millions of dollars. I have an unhealthy obsession. I love Publix chicken tender subs, and I may or may not be part of a Facebook group that's called Our Publix Chicken Tender Subs on Sale. And I may or may not be able to tell you right now that they are $2 off, and you should get one. This is not sponsored by Publix.
Not sponsored by Publix. But I thought you were about to say you played a show at Publix. You know.
Oh shit! I'd kill for that.
Have you ever heard of Winn-Dixie?
Yeah, and I got one right around the corner.
I've played at one.
Wait, what?
I've played a show at a Winn-Dixie, and that's a memory that has been locked away until you said that. I forgot that I was in a band for like a year, and we played a show St. Patty's Day for an event at a Winn-Dixie.
Like inside the grocery store?
Outside the grocery store, but like right outside the grocery store. We set up a stage and everything.
That's awesome.
Crazy times, man.
Oh man, I don't know. With the way things are, when shows start becoming a thing again, we're probably going to be hosting shows inside of dry cleaners, hospitals, friggin' you name it, post offices.
Wherever you can, man, do it.
Straight up. Hey, listen, if you got a PA system and a group of friends, you have a show.
Yeah. So, are there any upcoming projects that you're allowed to talk about with Top Tier?
Well, I can say we secured the license to a cover of a really it's one of those songs where it's retro, but people still remember it. I wish I can go into more depth of it, but it's definitely a song that has been on the table for a while. And we kind of just jokingly said, hey, let's cover it one of these days. And we got an arrangement for it. And our A&R guy told us that he had to chase down a lot of people just to get permission for the song. But what I am allowed to say is that we did just got green lighted for 3 more releases through labels. So it's interesting. You got to create all the music and then kind of present it out to the funders, and they kind of, they sign off the checks and all that. But we have 3 new singles that have been approved that, we're kind of creating a timeline of how we're going to do things, working with the marketing company that's handling our releases. But I can definitely say that there is always going to be something in line. And that's what I love. That brings me so much joy because, music is consumed differently nowadays. You don't go out and buy your favorite album for an artist anymore because artists just don't put out albums. It's the single route. Put out a single, put up a video to support it, music video, lyric video, what have you. And just kind of keep the demand going. And that's what we're trying to go for, man. Release the song every couple months and, let the audience speak for itself,
Keep on keeping on, because I like what I've heard so far, and I'd like to hear more. And whenever you guys start releasing these new singles and that cover especially, I'll make sure to share it on our page. Anything we can do to help you guys out. It's not much, but we like what we're hearing.
Hey, listen, I don't care if I'm putting it out to one person or a million people. If we can push the good word of Top Tier to new virgin ears, I'm living for it.
But that's the thing is with any art, it's you can't care about wanting millions to hear it. You got to care about that one person it's going to affect.
Exactly. And I think about I've been that super fan for some bands and for some artists, I'd much rather have 10 dedicated fans than 50 wishy-washy ones, it's just like when you're running a business, man. You want to really give back to your audience. You want them to know that, hey, I appreciate you for what you do, because and I'm sure every artist says it, but for me, it's the joy that I get to bring to people when I get to perform music for someone else. I had people tell me hey, I've been having such a crappy day. My girlfriend broke up with me. I lost my job, whatever. But, I came to your show to have some fun. And that brings me so much more joy than any notoriety or clout can bring, Like, I'm
And
still a fan, man. I'm a fan that writes music.
so, is there any? We're coming to the end of our time here, and so I gotta ask: is there any last words, special message that you'd like to give to your fans out there about Top Tier?
Well, to all the listeners hearing us right now, you can find us on our social medias. We're on Twitter and Instagram, Top Tier FL. That's spelled TOPTIERFL. You can also find us on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music. If you can shoot music and out of it, we're probably on there. You can pirate us on LimeWire if it's still out there. And then we do have our Vivo channel. It's Top Tier TV is the YouTube channel.
And do you have any merch? Anything they can do to support you at the moment?
I kind of rediscovered an old batch of T-shirts that I want to put back up online. So, give us a follow on our Instagram. We'll be having a post up on there soon, and we'll do everything in our power to get your hands on some brand spanking new Top Tier merch.
Nice. It was great having you on, Chris. I had fun. And, as always, stay saucy, you hoe bags. This has been the Confound Millennial, starring Steven Stirvin Michaels and featuring Christopher Tamez of Top Tier.